black thing go from left to right, and I thought, I'm going to die out here. No one's ever going to know.
I couldn't believe what my eyeballs were showing me. I'll never forget how evil the eyes were. It was horrible. I mean, I've never seen nothing that evil.
It ran towards me at a rate that I can't even explain. Turned and stared at me, and this look of, I just want to kill you. I want to say it was human, but it wasn't.
He was yelling at me to grab a gun, grab a gun. I was like, for what? He said, just grab a gun. And there's footprints all the way to the door of my house. It had went inside my garage all the way to the door.
911, what are you reporting?
Jesus Christ, you better...
Sir?
Zia!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh.
You're listening to Sasquatch Chronicles. Check us out online at sasquatchchronicles.com. If you've had an encounter, email me. My email address is wes@sasquatchchronicles.com. Welcome to the show, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. Got a great show planned for you tonight. Going to be speaking to Jason. And Jason had these creatures on his property. He had bought a piece of property, had a lot of strange things that happened. Didn't know quite what was going on until one day him and his wife were out in the garden, and they turned and actually saw the creature staring at them. And then Jason had seen a different creature at a different time when he was selling the property. Very, very fascinating stuff. I have a possible show I'm working on for Saturday night. Don't want to make any promises yet, but you will most likely, most of the members on the website will get another show on Saturday night too as well. And then I'll be talking to Ron Moorhead and Scott Nelson on Sunday. And I put up a preview of that show of Scott talking. Scott Nelson's actually a cryptolinguist. He's 30 years in the military, and he started listening to the Sierra sounds and found language. So we'll be talking about that on Sunday. I sure hope you can be there for that. If you've had an encounter and you'd like to be on the show, shoot me an email. My email address is wes@sasquatchchronicles.com. Let's jump into it tonight. Jason, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you being here. And I know your encounter, I read it on Facebook, and there was a lot of things that went on prior to the sighting. For the audience, can you kind of start from the beginning and walk us into what was going on, and then walk us into what you saw, what you experienced?
Absolutely. We bought a little cabin in Missouri, a little small river town, mostly a tourist town, in 2010. We had been there, I don't know, a couple of months and sitting around, it was fall by the time we got really settled in, and, we'd be out in the yard cleaning up kind of late, and it wouldn't be long after we got back in the house, you'd start hearing like rocks hitting the metal roof. And, it was fall, I'm thinking acorns, branches, but it was just real repetitive, heavier than the logic that I was using. And that went on, for, I don't know, up until I needed to clean a chimney. So I would say November. I climbed up on the roof to clean the chimney pipe, and the roof was just littered with rocks. Rocks don't fall from the sky. They have to come from somewhere. That turned into, we get real hard smacks on the house, that up front, even not on the back of the house. It was just right by the front door, and we'd look at each other, what in the world was that? Branches? We had a hillside on the back of the house, and it didn't have a retaining wall. So I started thinking, maybe some of these bigger rocks are rolling down, smacking the house. Didn't pay, I tried not to lead too much into it. Strange, however. Well, one night I went to take the trash out, and there was people walking up my driveway one evening. It was probably 8:30, maybe 9 o'clock. And they asked me had I heard anyone hollering or screaming in the woods, and I told them no, I hadn't. And I asked a little bit more about what was going on. And my neighbor across from me said she was sitting out on her deck, and she heard, like a moaning kind of cry for help, like somebody kind of in pain. So being that I was a volunteer fireman for so many years, I grabbed my flashlight. I went out in the woods. The sheriff had already been called, so, they're on their way. And the way this property, this little development is set up, you come in on one road, comes down past my place, makes a big turn, I don't know, maybe 300 yards down the road around this about a 2.5 acre pond. And then on the other side of the dirt road is the river. Well, you follow that road up around the ridge, and it comes to above my property. So it's just a nice oval patch of woods where this went on. I told the sheriff's department that I hadn't seen anybody in the woods. Basically case closed. Nobody was reported missing on the river. We thought maybe a tuber, or a floater had got hurt on the river, and that's why we were so concerned. But we didn't pay any more mind to whatever was going on. We just took it for what it was. Maybe people messing with the new people or whatever, because we were basically outsiders to this area, so we didn't know. It was June, about the 20th, that we had the visual. My wife and I were standing out along the driveway. We had our garden boxes planted on either side of the driveway because that's really the only place we had light to grow anything, because we were down in this hollow. Looking back, I think about this more often than I probably should. This has been 7 years ago. But we were picking spinach, of all things, just conversating, nice June day. And it's like something made both of our heads turn at the same time. There was no sound. We didn't hear footsteps. There was no cracking of branches. It was just there. And we called it turning away from us. So we got a half view of the right side. And 7.5, maybe 8 foot tall, 4 to 6 inch hair. And you know how most reports, it's kind of loose hair, 6 inches or so. This guy had, how when you sleep on the couch or sleep real good and get a good cowlick on your hair?
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly the way this looked. Auburn red in color, just massive. I know some big dudes here in town that do a lot of lumber work, and they were no comparison. It's huge. That's the only way I can describe it. From the side view, what we could see of its face, kind of, I want to say, kind of charcoaly, not light gray, but not black, kind of charcoaly gray. The head, it didn't, to me, it didn't have a neck. It was just a set of shoulders and this massive head. And what we could see, and all of this, like I said, it's like time stopped and slowed down as this thing was turning and walking away from us. It was very strange. It was weird. But this thing slowly turned away from us, always keeping its eye on us until it got to a full turn, and just casually walked away into the woods. The whole time that we were watching this, I know it sounds weird, but it's the God's honest truth. You know how when you bump your head and you don't quite get knocked out, but you have that feeling, that kind of woozy, lightheaded feeling?
Yeah, where it's almost lights out.
Yes, exactly. And me and my wife, it was